can see my screen already. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Pastor. We can
All
see.
right. Okay, so once again, good evening to everyone. And we are now in law number 3 of the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Of course, if you have the book of John C. Maxwell, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, you can also read about the topics that we are discussing here. So for this evening, we're going to talk about law number 3, which is the law of the mirror. So the law of the mirror says you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. So you have to see that there is value in you so that you will invest in you. So this is what this law is all about. If you do not see value in yourself, then most likely you will also not bet on yourself or invest in yourself. So let us start. I don't know how often you do this, but every day we look at the mirror, right? So we see ourselves as we prepare for work or as we want to check what we look like or if there are some blemishes that we want to, remove. So every day we look at the mirror. But the question is, how do you see yourself when you look in the mirror? What kind of person do you see when you look in the mirror? How would you describe that person that you see in the mirror? When you describe that person that you see in the mirror, is it a positive description or is it a negative description? So it's very important, as you may all have, you know, known that this is about our self-image. This is about how we see ourselves. Do we see value in ourselves? So as we remind ourselves about the definition of a leader from the Maxwell group or from John Maxwell, is a leader is a person of value who values others and who adds value to others. So the first statement there is a leader is a person of value. So he should be a person of values. That's why he can add value to others because he has something to offer. He has something to give. So again, when you see yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Now, unfortunately, there are two questions that we have to answer when we look at ourselves in the mirror. First is the question is, do they like me or do I like myself? Now, this is a question that what is more important to you? Which of these questions are more important to you? The first question or the second question? Because for some people, what others think um, matters most more than what I think of myself. So it's about pleasing others. It's about whether they like me, whether I conform, whether you know, people adore me or people like me. So for those who are more inclined to this, the first question, do they like me is more important than do I like myself. So it's all about pleasing people. Now we see this in the lives of a lot of people nowadays in social media. So it's more about uh, the more likes, the more heart, the more positive comments. So that's what they they are concerned about. So what about you? Which of these two questions um which of them is more important to you? Do they like me or do I like myself? All right. So how we see ourselves determines how we invest in ourselves. So, for example, in a scale of 1 to 10, okay, 10 being the highest, if you see yourself, say, as a 3, okay, 3, so a pretty low self image, then you will invest in yourself in that level as well. That means you will not invest more than the 3. Because if you do not see value in yourself, you will not invest more in yourself. So that's what this statement means. You have to see how you see yourself determines how you invest in yourself. So if you see yourself as like 8 or 7, that means you see yourself as valuable. Then you will also invest 7 or 8 in yourself, but it will not be more than that. Okay. So if you see yourself as a 3, okay, that's how you see yourself, that's your self image, then you will invest yourself in that level, not beyond that. So that's very important. So this is very important to know and to have a positive self image, because how you invest in you determines how you see, or how you see yourself determines how you invest in yourself. All right. So the power of positive self-esteem. How important is having a positive self-esteem for us? How important is this? So self-esteem is the single most significant key to a person's behavior. Self-esteem is very important. So if you have a very low self-esteem, you will also behave that way. But if you have a positive, a good self-esteem, then you will also behave positively. Now look at this statement from author Zig Ziglar. He said, "It's impossible to consistently behave in a manner inconsistent with how we see ourselves." Now let's pause for a moment and check this statement out. Again, it's impossible to consistently behave in a manner inconsistent with how we see ourselves. So let's go back to that illustration which we had a while ago about how you see yourself, okay, from 1 to 10. So if you see yourself, say, for example, again, let's go back. If I see myself as a 3, okay, that's my self image, very low, because the highest is 10. If I see myself as a 3, then most likely I will behave like a 3. Okay. Not just I will invest myself in that level, but I will behave that way. So that means most of the time I will not feel confident about myself. Most of the time I will not, feel positive about myself. Although that doesn't mean that there will be no good days that I will, perform or behave as a 5 or a 6. But that's it. You always go back to that level of self image that you have. That means if your self image is just 3, then you will behave that way. So we can do very few things in a positive way if we feel negative about ourselves. That's why it's very important as we grow. So this is about growth. We also have to address how we see ourselves, because this is the single most significant key to a person's behavior. Another quote from Nathaniel Branden says, "No factor is more important in people's psychological development and motivation than the value judgments they make about themselves." It's very important, okay? In terms of development and motivation, it is important that you make good value judgments, okay, and you have good a positive view of yourself. The second thing is low self-esteem puts a ceiling on our potential. So that means, again, going back to that illustration, if I see myself as a three, then not only will I invest myself as a three, but that will also put a ceiling on my potential. So John Maxwell would say, people are never able to outperform their self-image. So if you see yourself as a three, then you will perform as a three. That's why it's very important because people are never able to outperform their self-image. The next statement is the value we place on ourselves is usually the value others place on us. Again, going back to that statement, if you value yourself as a three, don't expect that other people will value you as a six. Because how you value yourself, that's also the value that other people will place on you. Because that's what they will see. If you don't have self-confidence, if you don't have a positive self-image, neither will other people value you more than the value that you place on yourself. So consider this quote. If you really put a small value upon yourself, rest assured that the world will not raise your price. Pay no attention to what the critics say. A statue has never been erected in honor of a critic. Now, sometimes, of course, many of us would say that our our negative self-image, our low self-esteem, has been um, we got that because of the negative feedbacks that we got from others. Maybe growing up, you hear more criticism than compliment. You hear more blame than encouragement. So somehow you have believed what others have said about you. Okay. And that also the value that you have placed on yourself. So this is very important because if you value yourself very low, other people will also value you in that low level. So that's why the the law of the mirror, the power of positive self-esteem is very, very important. Okay? Now, we go to the steps. How do we build our self-image? Okay? So this is now the how to. Okay. So if we have a low self-image, if you don't feel good about yourself, if you have a low self-esteem, what do we do? Okay. What are the practical things that we need to do so that we can build a positive self-image? The first thing is guard your self-talk. Okay. Guard your self-talk. We have to remember, okay, that when we had conversations, we are not only talking to other people, but as David Goggins would say, the most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you'll have with yourself. Okay, do you talk to yourself? Now, we do. Okay, in fact, many times when we talk to ourselves, we would criticize ourselves. Oh, that's a dumb idea. You did wrong. So we talk to ourselves, we blame ourselves, we criticize ourselves, or conversely, we also encourage ourselves, we compliment ourselves, we praise ourselves. So we have we have conversations going on between our ears, and that's very important. Okay, why is it very important? Because what you tell yourself, okay, the 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 things that you say to yourself most likely will have an effect on your behavior and how you see yourself. For example, in this picture that we're showing you, what if a person will say, "Oh, you're not good enough." You're telling that to yourself. "Oh, you're the worst. Oh, you can't do anything right." Or "You're going to fail." Or "You'll never get better. You're so dumb. You're so ugly. I hate you." You're talking to yourself. So, what if those are the conversations that you have with yourself? What do you think is the impact or the effect that it will have on your life? Of course, when you're the one who's putting yourself down, okay, so most likely you will believe it. So that's why it is important to guard your self talk. When you talk to yourself, what kind of conversations do you have with yourself? Are you blaming yourself? Are you putting down yourself? Are you, are you um, saying negative things about yourself? So don't be a victim of a negative self-talk. Remember, you are listening to that conversation, and it has a great impact on how you will see yourself. So I hope that we take this seriously when we begin to um, take a walk and have a conversation with ourselves. Guard what you tell yourself, okay? Because if you're talking to yourself and you're saying bad things about you to you, then that will be um, a negative self-talk. Another thing is, okay, so this is what we should remember. What we say about ourselves, we tend to believe. What we believe, we tend to act. And what we act, we tend to become. So this is why self-talk is important. Because what you say about yourself, you will tend to believe it. And what you believe, that's how you will act. And what you act is what you will become. So, for example, maybe some people would say, "Oh, you're so useless." And then you keep on repeating that to yourself. "You're useless. You're useless. I'm useless." And then you will believe that. And then you will behave in a way that, "Okay, I'm useless." And then you will become useless. Okay. Or you people will tell you, "Oh, you're not going to make it. You're going to fail." And then that's also the same thing that you will tell yourself. And then you believe that statement, and then you act that out. "Okay, I'm not gonna succeed." And that's what you will become. Okay, so this is how powerful self-talk is. That's why we should be careful on the words that we say to other people. Okay. um, there's a quotation or a statement that says, "Sticks and bones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." That phrase is not true. Okay, words have impact. Words influence. Words make or break. Okay, so if you continuously talk to yourself in a negative way, you will believe those negative things, you will act them out, and you will become those negative things. Okay, so guard your self talk. No world record was ever set by someone who said, "I cannot do this." Okay, of course, our our race here on earth was likened by the Apostle Paul as an Olympic runner. Okay, if you read the book of Corinthians. Now, for those who are competing in, let's say, the Olympics, okay, those who are competing in sports, do you think that those who win the gold medal are the people who say, "I'm going to fail. I cannot do this. I cannot make it. I cannot win"? I don't think so. Those who win are those who tell themselves, "I can do this. I will do this. And I'm going to give it my all." So If you're saying it in the negative way, then most likely you will fail. For example, in our ministry, in our service to the Lord, because I've said no, this discussion about the invariable laws of growth is in the context of ministry. What if, for example, I'm a pastor? Okay, I'm a pastor, and I'm already convinced that my ministry will not grow. Okay, that's what I tell myself. That's what I say every time there's no growth. I would say, see, there's no growth because this ministry will never grow. So I have already conditioned my mind that the ministry will not grow. So that means that I will believe it, I will act on it. Maybe I will not have enough motivation to do more because after all I believe that this ministry will not progress. And eventually I will get that. I will have a ministry that does not grow. Okay? So what we say about ourselves, we tend to believe. What we believe, we tend to act. And what we act, we tend to become. The next thing is stop comparing yourself to others. Okay? Stop comparing yourself to others. Making comparisons is an amazingly powerful attraction that is really just an unneeded distraction to your own potential. You know what? This is very common, okay? Some people will just try to compare themselves with other people, okay? Somebody will always be smarter, somebody will always be better, somebody will always be younger, somebody will always be um, more talented. So we feel bad about ourselves because we keep on comparing ourselves to others. And here in our lesson, it says it is an unneeded distraction. Okay? Imagine you yourself without that distraction of comparing yourself to other people. But instead, you just compare yourself with yourself. Okay? The only one you should compare yourself to is you. Okay? Your mission is not to be better than others. Your mission is to become better today than you were yesterday. Wow. What an amazing statement. We are not here to compete with others. We are not here to, you know, outsmart or be better than others. We are here to be better than we were yesterday. In fact, in the Bible, in Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 12, the Apostle Paul clearly says, "For we dare not make ourselves of the number or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they, measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise." Okay? If you keep on comparing yourself with others, you will be either discouraged or you will feel more superior than them. Okay, you will be complacent. Okay, I'm better than most people here, so I could already stop growing. Or you will feel disappointed. You will feel frustrated. So there's absolutely no benefit when you start to compare yourself with others. But the only one, let's always remember this, the only one we should compare ourselves with is our own selves. Our mission is to become better today than we were yesterday. Wow, what an amazing encouragement. The next thing is move beyond our own self limiting beliefs. So we have self limiting beliefs. You may ask, what are examples of self-limiting beliefs? Now, here are an example of the 23 most common limiting beliefs almost everyone has. Just to give you an example, okay, of some uh, what we call limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve success. I'm not smart enough. I can't do that. I'm sure many of you have heard people say that. I'm too old. I cannot do that anymore. Or if they're not too old, then I'm too young. I don't have enough time. I'm not talented enough. I'm not worthy of love. It's too late for me to change. I can't trust people. I'm not attractive enough. I don't have enough money. I'm always unlucky. I can't be happy until I have this. I'm too afraid to take risks. I'll never be as good as this person. I can't handle rejection. I need to be perfect. Success is for other people, not me. I'll never find my purpose. I'm not that creative. I don't have what it takes to succeed. I don't have enough money to start a business, and so on. So, what I have just shown you here are what we call self limiting beliefs. And when we embrace these self limiting beliefs, then we will just be limited by these beliefs. Okay? So here are 4 steps to transform limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs. Okay, so this is our goal. Transform those limiting beliefs, those negative statements, those statements that, stop us from growing into empowering beliefs. So these are the 4 steps. Number 1, identify a limiting belief that you want to change. Identify. What is that limiting belief that I want to change? Is it about I'm too old, I'm too lousy, I'm too busy? So, what is that limiting belief that you want to change in your life? Next, determine how that belief limits you. Okay. If you say I'm too old, that means am I ready to die? I mean, am I just waiting for to die? I'm not going to grow anymore. So, or if there are, if you say, um, success is for others, not me, then it limits you to give it your all to be successful. So that limiting belief will really limit you to an extent. And then number 3, decide how you want to act, feel, or think. So take action. Okay. How do you want to act? How do you want to feel? Or how do you want to think? And the last, you decide or you create a turnaround statement that affirms or gives you the permission to act, feel, or think differently. Now, let me give you an example of these steps. Okay. So here are the steps in a nutshell. Identify a limiting belief that you want to change, determine how that belief limits you, decide how uh, you want to be, act, or feel, and then create a turnaround statement that affirms or gives you permission to be, act, or feel this new way. So here's an example. My negative limiting belief is this is just an example. I have to do everything by myself. It's not okay to ask for help. It's a sign of weakness. So what does this negative limiting belief does? So you're afraid to ask for help. You do everything by yourself. You exhaust yourself out. You spread yourself too thin simply because you don't want to ask for help, simply because you believe that it's a sign of weakness on your part. Okay? So the second thing is how does it limit you? So I don't ask for help and I end up taking too much time, staying up late, not being effective or whatever. Okay. Because you do everything, you don't ask for help, you end up too exhausted, burned out, etc. The third is the way I want to feel is that it's okay to ask for help. I want to change that limiting belief. I want to delegate some of the things that I don't like doing, of course, that others can do, so that I can I can use my ability to the best that I can. And that's not the best use of my time to others. That means what I can only do, I'll do it. But what others can do, I can delegate to them, I can assign to them, I can ask for help. So that's what I want to feel. And the turnaround statement is I am worthy of receiving all the support I need. Okay. From I don't need help. Okay. Let's go back to that limiting belief. No? The limiting belief that I have to do everything by myself. It's not okay to ask for help. It is a sign of weakness. To this statement, I am worthy of receiving all the support I need. Okay? So when a man has put a limit on what he will do, he has put a limit on what he can do. Okay? So address that limiting belief. Now, I'm going to share with you something very interesting. We call this the baby elephant mindset. Okay. Now, what you see in the picture now is a huge creature, a big elephant. Okay, powerful, strong. But this elephant is tied up in a very small stick with a very not very strong rope, right? This is quite common. Okay, this is very common. You see a huge creature like an elephant. I mean, if there will be a tug of war and the elephant is on the other side and 100 big men would be on the other side, I think the elephant would still win in that tug of war. But why is it that an elephant will not escape or will not break free from this small rope tied to a small pole like this small stick? So if you've ever asked this question, so this is how they do it. When the elephant was still a baby, it's still small, it's still a baby, it's not very strong yet. They would tie the leg of that baby elephant to a very strong uh, post or stone. And of course, the baby elephant would try to break free, would push and try to break free from that chain, to the point that eventually the baby elephant would give up. Of course, because he cannot break free because the chain and the post are too strong for him. So eventually, the baby elephant would believe that he could not break free at all. Now, even if that baby elephant now grows up to be a very strong creature, okay, it becomes massive, strong, enough to uproot even a tree, yet it will never try to break free from that small rope and that from tied to a small stick. Why? Because it still believes that the rope is unbreakable. And that's how most of us live. We are not chained by reality, we are chained by memory. Here are other pictures for our benefit. The rope isn't the problem, it's the belief. Okay? It's not the rope that is tied on the elephant legs. It's the chain that has already captured the mind. So the elephant already believes that he can never break free. That's why even with a small rope tied to a weak stick, it will not break free. So it has always been ourselves that has kept us stuck. It's those limiting beliefs that we have that has kept us where we are, that has stopped us from growing, that has kept us from reaching our potential. Remember, the rope is not the problem, it's the belief. that the elephant has that he cannot break free anymore. The next thing that you have to do is add value to others. It's hard to feel bad about yourself when you're doing something good for someone else. Okay. So if you want to feel good about yourself, then do something good to others. Okay. Serve others. Serve the Lord by serving others. Okay. That's how you build your your self-esteem, your self-image. Because when you do something good to other people, when you serve other people, then it's hard to feel bad about yourself. It always makes you feel good. It always feels fulfilling and satisfying to serve others. Okay. And then the more value you add to the lives of others, the more valuable you become to them. So it's not about being selfish, being self-centered, doing things for myself. It's about giving out, okay? Giving yourself away, giving myself to serve others, to add value to them. That's also how I establish or increase my self image. The next thing is do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. Do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. You know, sometimes doing the wrong thing is easier than doing the right thing. But, when you do the right thing, it builds your self esteem. It gives you a strong sense of satisfaction. It builds your character. You become stronger as a person, and it gives confidence and positive feelings. Conversely, okay, how many of you, when you do something wrong, you feel good about yourself? Okay, normally, if we don't do right, we don't feel right, right? So when we don't do the right thing, then most likely we will not feel right. You feel guilty. You feel bad about yourself. You lie to yourself that your actions were not wrong. You become weaker to resist temptations, and you live with remorse and regrets. So doing right is very important. Um, it's very difficult sometimes when you are in an environment where people would pressure you to do things that are wrong. But doing the wrong things will not make you feel good about yourself. Okay, even if you become unpopular, even if that's not the popular thing to do, but what matters more is what you feel about yourself. um when we were growing up, we used to sing this song. I'm sure some of you can still remember this song. Do right. Okay, the price of doing right is sometimes high. Okay, do right till the stars fall, do right till the last call, do right even if there's no one else who will stand by you. Do right when you're all alone, do right though it's never known, do right since you love the Lord, do right, do right. Okay, next, practice a small discipline daily in a specific area of your life. So this is like this is the question. How do you eat an elephant? That means a very big animal. Okay. How do you eat an elephant? The answer is one bite at a time. Okay. One bite at a time. So, we sometimes we become overwhelmed by, I need to do this, all of these things. But all we just need to do is get a small win every day. Okay. Just small steps that will take you into a positive direction. So again, I hope you will not forget this. How do you eat a whole elephant? One bite at a time. Okay. So that means small disciplines every day. Small wins that you can have every day will encourage you. So for example, if your goal is to lose weight, to be more healthy, then it's impossible to lose like 20 pounds or 10 kilos overnight, right? But just make small wins. Okay, I did not eat a lot of sweets today. Okay, so small wins is important. Okay, just one bite at a time, one win every day. The next is celebrate small victories. Okay, as you see in the picture, the destination is important, but the journey is more important. Okay, winning, okay, finishing the race, winning is important, but enjoying the race is also more important. That means a lot of people will have this kind of statement. So look at these two statements here and decide which one are you. Okay, so for example, the first one is, well, it's about time. I didn't do as much as I should have. That won't make a difference. It's hopeless. I'll never succeed. Versus, it's good that I did that. I did the right thing. Good for me. Every little bit helps. I'm that much closer to success. So the difference is one is negative. Okay. He wants to immediately get to the end, but the other one understands that, just celebrate small victories, small wins every day till you reach your desired end. And next, embrace a positive vision for your life based on what you value. Now, some people call this your values. What do you value in life? What's important to you? Okay. And then embrace a positive vision for your life based on what you really value. Okay. Not on what others value, but what you value. Okay. So most people will say, oh, what I value more is God, my family, my health, my ministry. Okay. So embrace that positive vision for your life based on what you really value. And this one is very, very important. I love this one. Practice the one word strategy. How do you do this? Okay, everybody, look at this. If you could pick only one word to describe yourself, not one sentence, not one paragraph, just one word, what would it be? Okay, can you do that? If you could pick only one word to describe yourself, what would it be? Um, Come on, think about it. What would that one word be that you would describe yourself? I'm sharing this with you because this is one of the things that we will discuss during our breakout session with your group. What's that word? You don't have to share that word if you're not comfortable, because for some people, that word, that one word, could be a negative word. For example, what if my one word is failure? Okay, that's how I would describe myself. Failure. Do you think I will invest in myself? Do you think I will exert effort? Do you think I will, um, you know, work hard to reach my potential? Because that's the one word that I would describe myself. But of course, the goal is if the one word is a negative word, then you change it to a positive word. Okay, so if the word that you have in your mind is positive, then it will help you in the right direction. But if it's not, then you need to change that word, that one word. Okay, so maybe from failure, I need to um, work so that that word becomes success. Okay, not failure. Okay, and then take responsibility of your life. This is, I think, this is the last. No, we tend to get in life what we are willing to tolerate. If you allow yourself to be disrespected, you will be disrespected. If you allow yourself to, you know, not to be, um, um, yeah, to be disrespected, you will be disrespected. That's how you have to take responsibility of your life. If you are in a hole, then you have to dig yourself out of that hole. Okay, don't just say, "Okay, I'm this hole. I cannot get out. Maybe I will be in this hole forever." That's what the other picture tells us. But you have to take responsibility. I need to get myself. I need to um, get myself out of this hole, whatever it takes. Okay. So take responsibility of your life. Now, in your workbook, you have this specific steps to amazing growth, overcome growing pains. So I think you can do this on your own. In your workbook, make a list of your best personal qualities. Review this list to add more awareness of yourself. It is known that self-talk has a powerful effect on those who practice it. Negative self-talk to the negative and positive self-talk to the positive. Okay, so that's it. Now you have a copy of this. So if you want to learn more and apply this, so this is how you do it. And of course, I will end by with this slide. First, we have to remember that we are defined not by what others say about us, not how the world would measure us, but who we are in Jesus Christ. In Galatians 2:20, I love this verse. It says, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. When was the last time you said, I am loved? God loves me. Okay. Not just Jesus loves everyone. Me, I am loved. God loved me and he gave himself for me. And then, of course, this verse in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 10, 8 to 10, for by grace you are saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, that lest any man should boast. And look at this in verse number 10. We are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works. Wow, that means God saved us for a reason. God saved us for a purpose. God saved us because he has a work for us. He wants us to work for him. So that means we are valuable in the sight of God. Now, for our group activity, I shared this with you a while ago. So, practicing the one word strategy. If you could pick only one word to describe yourself, what would it be? So, you may want to share with the group that one word. Okay, if you're comfortable. If not, then you just say, okay, that one word is not positive, that I would describe myself. And here's what's important. If the word is negative, what would be the positive one word that you want to change that word to? Just like what I mentioned. If I describe myself as failure, okay, then of course I would want to change that into successful or success. And the second question is, what's the one thing that you learned tonight that you would want to share with someone tomorrow? Okay? Circling back to you, Myrel, for our group discussion.
All right. So thank you very much, Pastor Elmer, for that very, very wonderful topic for tonight. We have already put the questions in our chat box and also in our messenger group chat for it to be available for everyone. So my take on this one is before we go out our breakout room and as our admin is preparing our breakout room, I would like to share to you about the powerful positive self-talk that I also have learned. If you have seen in Facebook and if you have heard this, this is an experiment of a Japanese doctor called Masuro Emoto on water. And he would speak words to water and he would freeze it and he would if he speaks love, the water would freeze into a beautiful uh picture or like a snowflakes, and if he would speak a bad word, the water would then form into something ugly. So imagine that's just water, how much more you yourself and everything, all elements of you, if you say that I will akwarta, ay ambot ka ano, ako bino, ay katambok sa ako na, no, nga mo na bla, no. Sorry for the Tagalog ones, ang tabako, ay ano, ang pangit ko. Ay, di, cannot do this. Ay, kinanglan, you know, those very negative words really has powerful effect that we do not see. So that's just water. You can see that it's really amazing. It can change your perspective because if the water reacts like that, how much more ourselves would like to kill the the negative thoughts stuff. I know that it's too difficult to kill the negative thoughts, but sometimes you should ask yourself, where does that negative thought comes from? Is it from God? From you? Or from something else? No, it's really difficult, that negative thoughts in us. So I think our admin is ready. Our breakout room for tonight, as requested by ano, a lot of people. It will be increased into 5 minutes. So it will be 15 minutes, and we will be reminding you, broadcasting the time so that you'll be reminded as you enter the breakout room. So if our admin is ready, Sir Steve, are
Yes,
you
ma'am.
ready
Ready
to?
po. Yes
Okay,
po.
so everyone, please go ahead and click or go ahead to your breakout room if you see any notification there. So Sir Steve will just put you into your rooms now. Thank you very much. See you here after 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Hi, hello, welcome back. Oh, di naka-share man kamo tanan or
Yes, ma'am.
basi kulang pa gid
Okay,
ang
ma'am.
time. Okay,
Okay, ma'am. Okay, man.
okay, gid.
Oo. Yung
Amo na
tagililo mo lang.
amo na tong max naton.
Natang para sa katong farm.
Oh, ito Okay. Hello. Welcome back to the main room. I hope you had a wonderful time with each other during your sharing, and I hope everybody has shared. Oops, to gamay pala. Sorry. I think we still have some people in the breakout rooms. Oh, yeah. Oh, they don't want to go out. Wait. So they're still given few seconds to be there. All right. So I hope pinatunaan man kamo subong nga gabi. Kanami gid pati ako may nakadamo ito sa natunaan.
Yes, ma'am. Nobody wants to stop talking. We we appreciate the little
Additional.
reminders. Yeah, we
Okay.
only have 4 minutes.
Correct.
We appreciate that.
We're trying our best to remind everyone.
Ready na ako for the picture taking.
Okay.
Ready na ako for the picture taking. Come on.
Wala. There's still people in the breakout room. Dali lang. May harap pag iban.
Hey, ma'am. Yes.
Hindi kaya pa
Okay,
sila
ma'am.
magwa. Okay, I think all right. I think they're back. All right. Thank you very much for
Okay,
those
ma'am.
Gabi
for for
nga.
those who are late. Ginsulit yung kitang time, no? Pati ang ginhatag extension. So,
Yes.
So, welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a good time in the breakout room. You were blessed in the breakout room with all your sharing. Please don't hesitate to give your suggestion, remarks, and comments, especially in the attendance and an art activity, because I'm monitoring and reading all your comments. That's why we added, because someone politely asked, please extend the breakout room. All right, so that's why we extended it. So, and if there are other things that you would like to suggest, and if you're not in the group, you can contact me directly. So we are always listening, especially for things that we can improve on. So I hope everybody is blessed. And if you are blessed, show it to us with your thumbs up or with your heart or anything. Thank you very much. So I learned a lot for this lesson. So I hope we can apply what we have learned. All right. So to end our session for tonight, of course, we have our photo ops. But before we have our photo ops, let me remind you that you can also have questions. If you have lingering questions in your mind, and if you want Pastor Elmer to answer, or at least may gusto ka nga advice, you want an advice or whatever, you can always contact us directly, especially if it's about our topic during our sessions. And we would be happy to address, or I would I would relay it to Pastor Elmer so you can have at least an answer, no? If Pastor Elmer can answer your question. So, all right. So everybody's out in their video. Our admin is, I think, is ready for our photo op for tonight. Everybody smile.
Okay.
And what's your face?
Sige. 1, 2, 3. Smile.
Smile. Another page. I think we are 2
Ayan.
pages.
Opo.
Ma'am
Okay,
LV, Ma'am
1.
Bethany from Caloocan. Sir Steve, wala
Okay,
man
one
si Sir
second.
Steve Gagwa.
Okay,
Ma'am
1,
Lowen.
2.
Oh, there. Ma'am Lowen, hi.
Okay, smile. 1, 2, 3. Ayan.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay, again, thank you very much everyone for coming. See you again next week for our next
Thank you, ma'am.
law. Wala nyo
Thank
man
you
the
po.
next law. Pastor Elmer, what's the next law? Do you know?
Law of
Harap-
reflection.
Rob, grabe. Updated ang session. All right. So see you next week, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye,
Everyone.
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. God
Bye.
bless.